Welcome back. This is Sarker Afroz, lecturer, Department of English. Today's lesson is about the expression would rather and had better. So dear learner, let's have a look on the board. Well, dear student, you can see I have written here the special uses of phrase. Yes, dear student, would rather and had better is one kind of phrase, and at the same time they are semi-modal. Well, before I start, I want to say where would rather basically use. Usually, would rather is used to decide a preference when making a choice among different things. So, in that case, you will find two or more things, and from them you have to choose one. Which one is best for you? Yes, dear student, I hope you understood where to use would rather. Now, the important topics which will help you to apply this phrase would rather. You can see I wrote here, would rather says that one stage of affairs is preferable to another, as earlier I said. Next one you can see followed by, that means would rather followed by an infinitive without to. Before I explain this topic, I just want to say what is infinitive. In grammar, infinitive means to plus base form of verbs. That means in short we can say V1. So infinitive means to plus V1. So when you are writing would rather or using would rather, you are not permitted here to write to after that. That means after would rather, you have to use only V1 form. Well, next point it comes, would rather can be abbreviated to D apostrophe rather. That means it's a short form of would. Here would replaced by apostrophe D. You can use this short form also. So dear student, I have told you the definition, where to use and how to use would rather. Now let's have a look on the board where I have written the examples. The first example is, I would rather complete my task clearly. Here you can see would rather, and after that I use here complete, that means V1. My next example, you would rather, here my would rather, and V1 would rather V1. Earlier I said you, so you would rather listen to your parents. From this two example, we can find easily that there was two option or more option, but I chose the most preferable one. So in this way you can use would rather, and it will help you easily to make your writing fruitful. Well, dear students, now next come to the very important thing, that I have written here same subject. You can see wrote here different subject. Actually there are two different construction of would rather. First one, where you will find the same subject in different clause. Here are two clause, and here you can see their subject is same. One example for you, he felt he would rather do something than sit about. There are two portion, but I prefer do something. I prefer do something. So what happened here? Well, dear student, when the subject is the same person in both clauses, would rather is followed by a verb in the base form. You can see I wrote here V. At the same time, you can see I have written here then. At the same time, in English grammar, you can use then after would rather. In that case, you can see there are two options, and before then you have to use which one you prefer most. Well, dear student, now hope you understood when your subject is same. Now come when your subject is different. In that case, what have to do. At first, I want to explain the definition. After that, I will discuss. First one, do not come today. Full stop. I would rather you came tomorrow. I want to mark it and later I will explain this. Next one, I would rather you didn't stay here. You can see in my in this two sentence there are two clauses respectively. Two clauses and the subject are totally different. So what happened when your subject is different? Well, sometimes you see subject may be different. That means one person would prefer another to do something. In this case, would rather is followed by a finite clause with the verb in past subjunctive form. That means what I meant earlier in my videos, I had talked about this subjunctive verb. So dear student, you can see in this two example I have written second form of verb, that is came and didn't. What mean? Here I wrote here the past form in this two sentences. It is to be kept in mind that we use past tense after would rather when we speak about the actions of other people, even though that action may be in present or future. So from this example we can say that basically we use past simple tense to means present and future. Well, dear student, I hope you understood when your subject is different. Now you can say there are lots of example available here. Earlier we learned about would rather definition when our subject is same or subject is different. Now how to use would rather in negative form. You can see first example, I would rather you didn't stay here. Once again, didn't. You can use not after rather. Next one, they would rather. You can use rather. You can use not after rather to understand negative form. Do this job, then work in an unhealthy environment. At the same time, you can ask question by using would rather. Here is another example for you to ask a question like this. Would you rather go to the cinema? Yes, dear student, that's the format you have to follow when you are using would rather in your sentence. I hope you understood how to use this phrase. Well, now let's move on to had better. Well, dear students, where to use had better? Basically, we use had better to refer to the present or future, to talk about actions we think people should do or which are desirable in a specific situation. Well, dear student, here is some information for you. First one, had better refers to desirable or advisable action in particular situation. Next, where to use had better? Had better refers to recommendation. If you want to show your recommendation, your hope, any hope or desperate warning, in that case you also can use this had better, this phrase. Next, to immediate and urgent. If you want to understand anything which is very immediate and which is very urgent, in that case you can use had better. Next information for you, followed by, that means had better followed by infinitive without to, like this would rather. In that case I have earlier told you about this infinitive, that means to plus v1. So you are not permitted here to write to after had better. So you have to write had better and after that verb 1. Next one, used to tell about the present or future. In my definition, I have already told you that this word had better basically means present or future. Though the word had is a past tense, but it emphasizes on present or future. Next one, would rather can be abbreviated to D better. That means apostrophe replace had. So you can write this by this way. Well, dear student, these are the formulas you have to use when you are trying to use had better in your sentence. Well, now let's have a look on the examples. There are lots of 8 examples. Actually, you know the rules very well, but you don't know how to apply them. In that case, it will not bring any good for you. So it's very important to focus on this. First one is for you. First one, you can see, you had better take an umbrella or you will get wet. By this line, we can find that had better means strongly advise. Here, advice is focusing by this line. Next one, they had better leave now or they will miss the bus. Here we can see the advice. Once again, advice or particular situation. So you understood, I think you understood how to use had better. Next one, you had better shut off. Yes, dear student, definitely it's warning. By this sentence, there is focusing warning. Next one, it's a question. You can see, had I better, I repeated, had I better write to him. Yes, it's a question. How to make a question by using had better. Here is example for you. Next one, you had better not tell him about the incident. Number 5, it's a negative form. You can see, if you want to write anything in negative, in that case you can use had better, and after had better you have to use not. By this way you will be able to write a negative sense. Next one for you, it is very important, dear students. Number 6 and 7, I want to show here two things. There is no relation between must and have to, though many of us have misconcept about this, that had better and must have to, the similar thing. You can see, if you fly board, you had better, you are not permitted here must. It's not important. So in that case you can write here, if you fly board, you had better take a passport. After that, I had better wake up at 7 o'clock every day. There is no important to write here the must. I must wake up at, it's up to you, had better for your daily activities. So you can write here, I had better wake up at 7 o'clock every day. Next one, dear student, it's a short form. I have already told you the short form above. So this example is for to showing you the short form. We had better not miss the start of representation. Yes, dear student, by this way you have seen, I told you the short form and negative form. So now, dear student, I hope you understood how to use had better in your sentence. So try to follow the lecture and use them in your writing. I hope after that you will be able to write an appropriate sentence and the reader or listener will feel good. Well, dear student, hope you understood how to use this phrase. Now apply them in your writing and speaking and give more flow in your writing. So that's all for today. Thank you, everyone.